I've finally started winning in ACC, but can I now do it on Assetto Corsa? Well, I've been gifted a setup for today's Mazda MX-5 Cup race on Low Fuel Motorsport, and it has made a huge difference to my pace. I came within a tenth of cracking a 1:17 lap time at Donington Park's national circuit, and as a result, it's put me P3 on a very competitive grid. I don't normally qualify this far up in AC, so can I turn this golden opportunity into a podium, or better yet, a race win? Let's find out. Well, what can I do from the second row of the grid? We're about to find out, because this race is underway, and that is the pole sitter, Matthias Popp, right in front of me. Tom Hafer was the other driver on the front row. He hasn't got away nearly as well. In fact, I've moved up the inside of Hafer, and in the rear view mirror, the elbows were out there. Hafer coming together with Batu and Sarach, who started alongside me on the second row, and that has given me a bit of breathing room behind already. So a fantastic start. I've picked up one position up into P2. Now the big question is, have I got the pace to stick with Matthias Popp here? Both Popp and Hafer set qualifying lap times in the 1:17s, while mine was a 1:18.1. I'm a couple of tenths slower, and I'm going to have to raise my game here. Meanwhile, behind, Hafer and Sarach side by side going through McLean's. Hafer trying a move up the inside, but it didn't quite pay off. But yeah, it looks like Hafer is working hard to try and make amends for that poor start. He dropped from P2 down to P4. And while it wasn't a great start for Hafer, it was an absolutely fantastic one for me. Let's check out a replay. Now, Matthias Popp is the pole position driver in that yellow Mazda. That's me tucked right in behind him in the purple. But look to the right of the screen. Tom Hafer in the orange turns in behind me, and there's the contact with Batu and Sarach. And that was the only incident in T1. Everybody getting through Redgate and the Craner curve safely. However, one of the back markers wasn't quite so lucky when we got to the old hairpin. But by qualifying so far up the grid for once, I've managed to stay well clear of all the bumping and barging in mid-pack. So let's go back to the live action. At the start of lap 3, I'm still in second position. However, I have got company behind. Batu and Sarach is within half a second of me. You can keep one eye on his on board with the TV cam top right of the screen, but he's done a fantastic job of gapping Tom Hafer. Hafer is now nearly 2 seconds back. So Sarach clearly got some race pace here. His qualifying time was a 1:18.2, so he was only 1/10 slower than me, but he certainly seems quicker here. In fact, I feel like I may be holding him up a little bit here as we go through McLean's. This could end up working against the pair of us, because the more I start feeling the pressure from Sarach behind, the more it is going to allow Matthias Popp to make a break for it. He is now more than 1 second clear. And if I suddenly start going defensive against Sarach, that gap is only going to increase. We're not even 5 minutes into the race yet. We're yet to reach 1/4 race distance. So I've got a decision to make here. Will the pair of us stand a better chance of keeping up with Popp if I'm behind Sarach chasing him rather than trying to defend? Well, he's flashing his headlights at me. Also, I didn't get the best exit out of the chicane. I just clipped that curb on the inside, which forced me to lift momentarily. Sarach is going to have a look up the inside, so I won't fight it here, but it still gets a bit rough through Redgate as we bash doors. The contact sending me out a little bit wider than I would have liked, but thankfully I've managed to keep it on track, although I am down into P3. Right, let's go back and check out a replay. And I'd already pretty much decided by this point that my long-term race plan would be better served being behind Sarach and chasing him rather than trying to defend against him. So I left the inside line open. There was still a little bit of contact there. Maybe I turned in just a touch earlier than I should have, but no harm done. Sarach up to second, I'm down to third. Now, it's always a gamble to surrender a position, and for this gamble to pay off, I have now got to stick with Sarach and close in on the race leader, Matthias Popp. However, at the moment, it doesn't look like I've got the race pace to be able to do that. I'm now closer to Tom Hafer behind than I am to Batu and Sarach ahead. Sarach is indeed reeling in the race leader Popp, so that part of the plan is working working perfectly. It's just my pace that's letting me down here. And we've got the TV cam back on too, showing the onboard from Tom Hafer. We can see just how close Hafer is getting now. The gap just 0.5 of a second back to 4th position. Meanwhile, it's 1 second to Srirac in front of me. Oh, slight mistake coming out of the old hairpin. I just kick up some dust to the left. That's going to cost me a tenth or two. But even with that mistake, my delta still says I'm on qualifying pace. So that just shows how hard I am pushing here. Right, we're going to jump forward a lap. We're now at the halfway point of the race. And I've managed to find a few extra tenths over Hafer. That gap to him now 0.8 of a second. And look how close the leading two are. Srirac has closed Pop right in. There's now less than half a second between them, and I'm hoping they're going to start fighting and slow each other down here. This might get me back into contention for the race win. Originally, I was hoping I'd have the pace to stick with Srirac and be part of this battle already. I didn't have the pace, so instead I've got to rely on them fighting each other and slowing each other down. Into Coppice then. It looks like Srirac may have made a mistake there. He missed the apex completely, and yeah, he's out onto the grass. So this is going to give me an opportunity to take 2nd position back. Well, we're going to be back to square one here. Originally, I didn't want to stay in front of the faster Srirac because I knew I'd have to defend, but at the same time, I can't look past an opportunity like that. We're going to be side by side into the chicane. Oh, I'm a bit unsettled on the inside curb, and that sends me out onto the grass. I'm going to lose that 2nd position and lose their position as well. A big mistake at the halfway point of this race. And yeah, that error from Srirac going through Coppice has completely nullified my game plan. He was no longer putting Pop under any pressure, so I felt I had to go for the overtake, but then I get it all wrong going through the chicane. Too much of the curb mid-corner, and it sends me out onto the grass. Now I find myself down in P4 and almost 3 seconds behind Hafer in 3rd. And realistically, it looks like time might be against me here. We're approaching 3/4 race distance, and I'm a long way off the podium. I'm hoping for a miracle, and maybe it'll come in the form of a back marker. Jesus Martinez is currently stuck right in between Hafer and Srirac. And as I make my way down through the Craner curves, yeah, it looks like the pair of them have got past Martinez. So now it's my turn to navigate my way past the map marker. Oh, he's lost it. He's coming straight for me. Oh, I felt sure he was going to be spearing right across track there. I took evasive action out on the grass to try and keep myself safe, but I've got myself in a complete mess here. I have lost it big time. And now the big question is, have I built up enough of an advantage to get back on track before the 5th and 6th place drivers come? No, I haven't. I'm not up to racing speed, so I've got to stay off the racing line and let the pair of them past. And that's me down to 6th position. Let's take another look at this one. Martinez doing exactly the right thing, staying out wide through the Craner curves to let Hafer and Srirac through safely. But then, really unfortunately for me, he loses the rear exit in the old hairpin. At this point, I think that car is snapping back to the left and coming right for me. So I take evasive action and move out onto the grass. In hindsight, I didn't need to because he managed to hold on to it. He kept that car over to the right, but this was the moment I thought he was heading straight for me. I panicked, I go out onto the grass, and then I make my 2nd mistake. I'm desperate not to lose any ground, so I keep my foot planted on the gas, and it causes me to lose control in spectacular fashion. So yeah, a really disappointing mistake that one, but this race certainly isn't over. We've still got 5 minutes left on the clock, and now I've got 2 new targets to chase, Rafael Enrique and Juan Gomez. We can switch the TV cam on to see just how closely they are fighting for that 4th position. And unlike earlier in the race when I was chasing the leading 3, I'm now in hot pursuit of drivers I know that I'm quicker than. So yeah, 5 minutes left on the clock. I've got good pace here. I could yet still snatch that 4th position back. It's going to be tough. Catching these guys is one thing, getting past them will be another. But let's give it everything we've got here. I'm now within 1 second of the pair of them, so I am closing in on them fast. And Enrique in 4th is having to work really hard now to fight off Gomez. Gomez going to the outside. Now, based on qualifying times, Gomez is the quicker of the 2 drivers. He started from P6 with a 118.3. Enrique was down in P8 with a 118.6. And Gomez was trying to position himself so he had the inside line from McLean's and then Coppice corner. He wasn't quite far enough alongside though, and that has put me right into contention. I am breathing down the neck of Gomez now. He's been a little offline all through that section, so this might be the opportunity for me to launch an attack. I'm going to pick up some toe here, move out to the inside. Can I get alongside him and sling it up the inside into the chicane? Well, I got this move wrong the last time. I'm going to have to be even more careful this time to avoid that curb on the inside and leave room for Gomez on the outside. I've managed it and I've made the pass. Really happy with that one. The job's not done yet though. I'm going to have to make sure I'm far enough ahead to avoid coming under attack into Redgate. It looks like I am. However, it also looks like I'm running in a little bit hot. I just missed the apex there. That was a wider line than I would have liked, and it's going to open up a gap on the inside for Gomez to fight back. The last thing I want to do is go down through the Craner curves too wide, so I've got to fight as hard as I can here to stay in front of Gomez. Oh, the heat is on as we enter the old hairpin. Oh, another mistake. I'm out onto the grass for a second time. That is going to give Gomez a golden opportunity. I'm trying to reach it safely. Oh, it's really close. I resisted the temptation to get back on track straight away. I waited until after that left kink. But even then, it was still too close for comfort, and all this good work undone. A really smooth and clean pass through this chicane. If I'm being slightly critical of myself, maybe I could have left him a touch more room on the inside. It did cause him to go over that curb, but he didn't have to wait long to get the position back. This is another big mistake. I'm out onto the grass. At this point, I decide against rejoining because I knew that kink was coming up and he'd be turning in, so I waited until after the turn, but it was still very, very close. Right, just 2 minutes left on the clock now, so I suspect we've only got 2 laps of this race left. Can I do anything to get that 5th position back? Well, I'm 0.6 of a second behind Gomez now, and the battle between the pair of us has played right into the hands of Enrique. He is now 1.5 seconds down the road, so it looks like Enrique has got 4th place sewn up. All I can do is concentrate on what's right in front of me, and that is Gomez. Can I put him under more pressure? Well, he's missed the apex into McLean, so this might be an opportunity. If I can get a better exit out of the corner, I might be able to pull alongside and have the inside line into Coppice. It's going to be really tricky to go through here too wide safely, so I'm going to hold it as tight as I possibly can. We're still too wide as we exit the corner. In fact, Gomez has got about a half a car length's advantage. Have I got the pace to pull alongside him and try the same move into this final chicane? Well, I'm past the point of no return now. I'm committed. I've got to keep it safe. I've got to leave him space to the left. I have done on both counts. Once again, we're too wide through the final chicane. We're still too wide going down the start-finish straight, and I'm going to have the inside line for this upcoming first corner. What a battle this is to end the race here at Donington Park. I'm going to have the inside line. It's going to give me 5th position, but I'm going to be down on speed on exit, so that is surely going to invite a challenge from Gomez. He is going to make us too wide through the Craner curves. This is exactly what I didn't want. Gomez is going to have the inside line for the old hairpin. I've got to try and hold my nerve here. Can I hold on to this position? Yes, I get to the old hairpin in front. Oh, this is incredible racing. And you know what? I'm almost glad I made that mistake earlier in the race. I wouldn't have had such an entertaining battle if I'd been chasing the podium. Instead, I am in a proper fight for P5. Gomez doing everything he can to try and get alongside me. He had a sniff up the inside into McLean's. He wasn't quite close enough. And for now, I've made that 5th position my own. And I tell you what, I'm pushing so hard to try and stay in front of Gomez here. I am closing in rapidly on Rafael Enrique. It's just 0.8 of a second the gap now. He was 1.5 seconds clear at the start of this lap. And the clock now is about to strike 0, but I wonder if we may just get one more lap in here, and if we do, can I challenge for 4th position? Well, one person who is going to have a big say in that scenario is Juan Gomez. I've switched the TV cam back on from his on board so we can see just how close he still is on my rear end, and yeah, we're going to get one more lap, so it is all to play for here. I could get 4th position, I could end up in 6th. Anything can happen on this final lap at Donington Park. Down the Craner curves for the last time. It's just 0.2 of a second to Enrique ahead, 0.4 of a second back to Gomez behind. The 3 of us separated by just 0.6 of a second. And I've got a much better run through the old hairpin. This is going to be my opportunity to challenge Enrique. I move to the outside. My aim is to build up as much momentum as I possibly can around this wider line, which should give me the inside line here in McLean's. I've got the inside line, but Enrique isn't giving it up. We're still side by side. Gomez right behind, ready to pounce if it all goes wrong. We're still side by side into Coppice. It's almost contact. We couldn't have been any closer. Enrique fighting with everything he's got to hold on to this 4th position. It is now a dash to the line. I'm going to have the inside for this final chicane. I've managed to make the pass stick against Gomez twice. I'm not quite close enough to Enrique. Enrique slams the door shut. I slam the door shut on Gomez, and incredibly all 3 of us are going to cross the line in one piece. What a finish to this race. Rafael Enrique holds on to take 4th position. I have to settle for 5th, and Juan Gomez takes 6th. Well, I've got to be honest, I'm struggling to think of one of my races that had a more dramatic ending than this one. Here are the classified results then. There I am in P5 with a fastest lap of 1:18.1, so that was identical to my qualifying pace. But as I suspected, I really needed to be in the 1:17s to stand a realistic chance of challenging for a podium or a race win here. I wasn't quite up to that, and because I was pushing so very hard, I made a couple of big mistakes in the first half of the race. But as daft as it sounds, I'm actually glad I made those mistakes. Otherwise, it would have been a pretty lonely run to 4th position. Instead, I ended up in a 3-way battle, which was the most fun I've had on track in a long time. Yes, I finished 1 position lower, but I think I'd rather take a 5th position with that level of drama and excitement compared to a lonelier drive to a comfortable P4. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed racing in it. Cheers for now.